Good afternoon and welcome to Kaftan TV. It is the polity where we discuss issues that concern our lives on daily basis. We look at trending issues, developmental issues, and what comes up, and then we have a conversation around them. Today we'll be looking at the discovery of oil in Nigeria. That was 1956 in Olobri, and the crude placed Olobri on a global map. Now, after oil was discovered, there have been series of activities within the production process, and that has also made a lot of impact on the environment, the economy, the politics, and even the community themselves. As time progresses, after the discovery of oil in 1956, 58, commercial production began, of course, by Shell BP, and several other companies came in. And then we go to a point where Nigeria had so much, and then there was the beautiful display of wealth. Unfortunately, with oil was the failure to pay attention to other sectors of the economy, particularly agriculture and even manufacturing. This, of course, was some kind of challenge to the economy of the nation. We progressed several years up till now. We are still struggling to ensure that the impact of oil is positive to our economy. Is the discovery a blessing or a curse? Is a conversation we'll be looking at. One important thing during democracy, after the seeming collapse of the 4 refineries in the country, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Warri, there was an attempt to sell the assets for several $50 million to an organization believed to be owned, or in which the African billionaire richest man has interests, and that was done by the Obasanjo regime. But when late President Yar'Adua came to power, Musa Umaru Yar'Adua reversed that agreement, and they returned back the 750 and made huge investment. It is believed that with his good intention and attempt to revive the refineries, he spent over $1 billion. Now, these are all in the realms of speculation because we are yet to get authentic or detailed report in these spendings. Of course, Obasanjo has made his own spendings. Then Yar'Adua made his own spending. Then came the attempt by Jonathan and then the Buhari administration. Governor of Nasarawa State, in an interview, in a television interview, they say that the Buhari administration expended about $19 billion to revive the Nigerian refinery. Interestingly, a private refinery that has capacity which far outweighs these 4 refineries where $19 billion was spent for by an administration. Private refinery of 650 million barrels had $20 billion used to build it. The construction of that refinery today has brought some ease, as it were, of course, not without pains, to Nigerians who believe that fuel production within the country should be at a lesser rate. So, with the new rate of 699 from the ex-depot amount from the gantry of the Aliko Dangote refinery, to about 789, what do you call it, 789 in the filling stations which Dangote said they'll be selling. What impact are we likely to experience? We're still looking at oil discovery, how beneficial to the immediate community. In this case, Nigeria's immediate community of our oil discovery and then the experiences we've gone through over the years, and then here we are. So me to engage in this discussion is one that who has understanding of this issue. He's a Nigerian himself. He has seen how the prices have been on the semi-euro scale. It goes up and comes down, goes up and comes down, and the fluctuation in the prices, and then the semi-soothing news that got to the ears of commercial drivers and even commuters. It's no other person but Chokonalu Eke, an in-house public affairs analyst and commentator.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome.
And good afternoon, viewers. Welcome.
Thank you very much for joining us on this interesting discussion. We shall, of course, be engaging with you in the next 1 hour 30 minutes. We'll be talking about this, and of course you will be the third guest. We're expecting you to join in this conversation as you call in when the lines will be thrown in, but not now. Let us have our own discussion. Dangote has said the Dangote refinery announced on the 11th that it's going to begin the what do you call it export price of $6.99. And that is about 129 reduction 129 naira reduction in fuel price. What sense do you make of these?
Yeah, I will say it's a good one, and I will commend Dangote for doing that. And I believe that doing that is not for selfish reason, but for the good of the citizen of Nigeria. And I would also like to ask for more reduction, because the more we reduce the fuel rate in Nigeria, the more the citizens benefit more. Yes, we can come up with all sorts of English price, this the cost of refining, the cost of this, the cost of that. I believe that Nigerians, we can still do more if we can just do it, because that is ex-depot price $6.99, meaning that the cost of freight to final tax along the line, and will still be borne by the people. So I think by that is going to end up like 700 and something, maybe 740 to 750 naira per liter, where it's still a good one compared to the 900 that we are getting today, or almost 1,000 naira. So it will have a little bit of relief and impact if that can be sustained for the next 1 to 2 years in the country, or further reduction. Maybe if we can get at 5 something or 4.99 or 4 something at the filling station. I don't know how the mathematics is going to work, but I believe that is achievable if the cost of producing crude oil in Nigeria is around $20 per barrel, and if they can give it out to Dangote refinery at $30 per barrel or $40 per barrel, I think it will make serious, significant impact in Nigerian economy. If cost of production is $20 per barrel, so definitely the people that produce, they have to earn profit. Then you give it at it's not necessary we sell the rate at the international rate, $65 per barrel. Give it to local refinery, maybe $40 per barrel. Let there be a price reduction, and with that rate, you use that rate to calculate the reduction you are going to. In fact, that is the best way to give subsidy than to import and give one money to anybody. Nigerians' requirement is about 450 barrels per day. I think that should be around our consumption. So if they can give like Dangote 450 barrels, if he's requesting for more than that, he can pay maybe at 65, the balance at $65. But we need 450 barrels per day in Nigeria. If they can give Dangote like 450,000 barrels per day at $40 per barrel, I believe Nigeria will feel the impact of having that refinery in Nigeria. But at 700 too, for me, it's still on the high side, because all of us are bearing the brunt of at 900 or 1,000 or whatever rate. Even at 700, I still believe that is on the high side. If you check Libya, Libya is the least paid. They pay the cheapest oil for gasoline, or which we call fuel here.
Yeah, we call fuel.
They pay the cheapest around the world. Just check it, because they are blessed with oil, and they feel that the people of their people should have good impact, positive benefit from it, and that is how our leaders should also think. When we usually, before, yes, I used to think that the oil is a cause or not. No, but I begin to think when I look at people in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, I don't think the oil is a cause or not. It is our leaders are cause or not the oil, the natural resources that God has actually given us. Because if you look at the place like United Arab Emirates, and you see what they use their oil money to do, is as a result of leadership. You go to Qatar, it's as a result. You can imagine building a stadium with air condition, with oil money. You can see their media organization, how is well funded. Now, I want to ask you, have you seen any of these Middle East oil producing countries, any of their citizens going to like UK, Canada, or North America, going there to do menial job to fund their education? I don't think you will see any of that around the world or anywhere in the world, or even just you see their citizens doing menial job, driving, cleaning to go to school. No, it means that their citizens are benefiting from it. But we as a nation, as a nation,
in spite of the huge wealth that it was,
in spite of we are everywhere doing all kind of menial jobs just for us. In fact, some people are not even going to school there. They are doing menial job because they are being well paid in order to send money. I know people that are in Congo, I think DR Congo, because their minimum wage there are far better than Nigeria, and the man is pleased staying there because what he earns, the man once lived here in Suleja until he got the contract to travel to DR Congo. And what is he doing there? Just menial job there, but he is well paid. No, so you are not going to see that with people, with citizens of those countries in the Middle East having that. Even Libya. Yes, I know Libya is in a commotion, but I don't know why our own case, Nigeria, is just why it's difficult for us to use the oil money to build our own refinery and manage it. Because as far as I'm concerned, Dangote's refinery is not actually Nigerian's refinery. Yes, it's a Nigerian that built it, but it's not a Nigerian's property. He can decide to sell it and sell it to foreigners. There is nothing anybody is going to do about it because it is private investment. You understand? But if it's Nigerian government that built it, and we have the capacity of doing that. We have the capacity of having what Dangote built in Lagos. We have capacity of doing 4 of it across the country. So
you pipe the crude to them.
Pipe the crude to them.
And begin to export a refined product.
Yes, you just look at, okay, in the northern region, probably you have something like that in Dangote's capacity. Maybe somewhere in Sokoto or somewhere in, let's say, Jigawa. The assets, what you're going to do to Niger. I know Niger has a 150 barrel per day refinery, but yet that means they still need more. Then what you can do to Niger, and also pipe to Burkina Faso from that angle, Cameroon, Chad, and is well managed, and we make our money from it. So instead of people now siphoning or diverting the truck that's supposed to deliver to Borno, they divert it to Cameroon. You have your refinery in either Jigawa or Kano or somewhere in the northern region that can easily transport that. Then in the south, you have maybe in Delta, Rivers or Bayelsa, you have something like that, or even Akwa Ibom, you have something like that that can easily deliver to any of the south states. Then you have another one in the southwest. You have another one in the northeast. When we have something like that, and you can even, I know Ghana is doing, but I don't think Ghana has refinery. They are producing. People, if you go to Benin Republic, you will see that they are depending on our energy you know, it will survive. Our fuel, our diesel, our kerosene, they depend on Nigerians. So if Nigerian government can actually, should I say decentralized, or just have the capacity of Dangote's capacity, we will benefit from it instead of leaving it to just Dangote alone to do that. Yes, it's fine that Dangote is doing it. It's fine that a Nigerian is doing it. I don't have problem with that. No, did I have problem against Dangote? But I think you should also be praised so that one man, because one man cannot solve Nigerian problem. Dangote's refinery can never solve Nigerian problem.
Yes, Dangote refinery can never, as it were, solve the problem of Nigeria in terms of energy need from the crude. But again, he has been able to a large extent demystify the story of the impossibility of any refinery working on the soil of Nigeria. This was the man who had earlier bidded for the refineries in the country when we got a second term of President Olusegun Obasanjo. He got the he got successful with a bid and then made his payment of $750 million, which was supposed to be taking, I think, about 50% or 49% of the oil stake, while the order was that of the federal government. But the president, with a good intention, as it were, late President Umaru Yar'Adua, came, reversed that agreement, returned the $750 million back to Dangote, and then made several attempts to revamp and fix the refineries. Now it is over 20 years. The refinery is still where it is. Even when the razzmatazz of the Buhari administration came, late President Muhammadu Buhari administration came up under, what's his name, the immediate past GMD, sorry, the past GMD of, what's this man from Borno? Mele Kyari, where he talked about they are working on it, they started producing fuel. But again, investigative journalism revealed that they were just only adding on some content to be able to get what they finally have us for. That was indeed very embarrassing. And so with that situation, one is beginning to think, if the investment of government is truly as much as 19 billion, which the Jigawa State the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule said, if it is really true that that kind of investment went into revamping a still dead refinery, then it is a colossal amount that has been sunk into the abyss. When you compare it to the Dangote refinery, which about 20 billion dollar was used to construct, and is giving a service that is very, very impactful. The subsidy on its own, we're not talking about the amount of money that has gone into subsidy, because subsidy on its own consumed quite a lot of money. I think over 20 billion was spent also on subsidy within this period, sufficient to set up another refinery. So if it was done earlier, certainly the refineries would have been built less than the amount used to produce to construct the present refinery by the Aliko Dangote, and that would have meant that not less than 3 huge refineries would have been on ground, and then dismiss this whole idea of fuel scarcity, demystify this issue of pump price that is difficult to agree on, because as it is now, the new rates, which people are still happy about, is something that will impact positively on the economy, as it were. However, Nigerians are still hoping that the money should still come down, maybe around 400, 500 per liter.
Sure.
So that they can be able to meet up with several other activities. But then, looking at it, 19 billion spent in reviving the refineries that are yet alive, and 20 billion used to complete a 650 million liters of
no barrel.
Sorry, 650 barrels of what's it called of
refinery
per day. Now, when you look at this, juxtapose this, do you think it's a wise investment? It is wise for government to even venture into refining?
Well, one of our biggest problem is corruption, and like you refer to when Dangote bought, I think he came under a consortium then, Blue Star Energy or something like that, to get the Dangote. I think he collaborated with Femi Otedola then to get that, and you know, the pressure, people benefiting from the turnaround maintenance. You know, I remember, I think 99, 2000, when the Obasanjo government gave contract to Chrome Energy, owned by one popular billionaire. Then I think about $4 billion there, about something $1 billion to revamp it, and nothing was done over the years. And people shouted, people made noise, nothing was done. I think that was Obasanjo saw that this thing cannot be done. Let me just sell it off. And the same people
reduce the pressure as it were from government.
Yes, from government, and the same people that was shouting that he gave it out to these cronies.
Cronies.
They are the
allegation.
Yes, they are the one in government today. You know that this is, he sold it to his cronies. Is this and they mounted pressure when Yaradua came in, and they felt like, oh, when Dangote gets there, they are no more going to benefit what they used to benefit, or you know, the gain. And Yaradua have to reverse whatever decision, whatever thing they gave him to. And if you see after then till now, they've still spent some money on reviving, even on that this current president. They still spend some money. You know that thing they used to tell us then when there was no social media. They still came up to tell us that they are producing. They were, until somebody said they are putting, I think, naphthalene or whatever, and you add some tablets to it, and they say is, and if not for social media, we wouldn't have known, you know. And they did that in Port Harcourt zone. All those things we done. If I happens to be the president, what I would have done, all the people that were involved, both you that made the project proposal, implemented, and made me to believe that they are working. By now, you should be telling us what actually happened, who spent money, where did the money go for this? Because you said that you can actually make this to happen. When on the other side, some people believe, like I'm of the personal opinion, that these refineries are obsolete. Some of their machines and whatever are no more in use. So they should just change the whole system. You can imagine, I think Port Harcourt was built 1978, commissioned by the same General Buhari, and Obasanjo as the head of state, but Buhari as a commissioner of then it was commissioner, not minister, commissioner for energy, then petroleum. Yes, and so it was during that time that they did that, and still now, can they give us the amount of liters or barrels that refinery did before it collapsed? Definitely they are not going to. They don't even have the data to do that. If we can solve that corruption problem within our system, Nigerian government can actually venture into refining. It's not a cause. Nothing stops Nigerian government from refining. But it's just the problem of corruption. When you bring in 10 naira, can the government get value for that 10 naira that they are bringing in into the system? Look at see when they want to privatize another sector of the energy, the power, because they also work hand in hand, because they need to supply gas to generate electricity. They told us that many people once they sell it off, and you can choose where to. But we found out that it's not like that again. You understand? Where after giving it out to people, to individuals, since they sold power, electricity generation and this thing to them, have we seen any change? Rather, it got worse. So I still believe that the government still need to have a stake in refining petroleum products, not only on private sector, because if you leave it to them, they are going to form cartels. They are going to form cartel. Already now, Dangote company is already making it that no more importation, no more, only those people with refinery must have license to import. You know, all those kind of to create barriers for no entry for any other person to enter into it. So when that is achieved, whoever they will create cartel, and that cartel will determine what Nigerians will be buying, fuel pump or whatever, and by that time it will go away, because even government will not be able to control, because when they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just as we are having with the marketers, that is how we are going to have it with the cartel of refiners when we achieve that in the government. So I still believe that Nigeria still need to have their own refinery and solve that corruption problem that we have. That, you know, corruption is almost in every sector in Nigeria. Anywhere you go, education, even families, corruption, there is corruption there and all these things. If government can solve that problem, that if we give you 10 naira, you will account, you will do this, you will do that. If you touch the money, EFCC will deal with you, not based on where you come from or the political party,
but based on the offense you have committed.
Based on the offense you've committed.
If it is an offense against the state,
then they deal with you. Look at what happened in the UK. Just somebody making, I think somebody on tax, he didn't reveal that he didn't reveal the actual amount. A politician didn't reveal the actual amount when she wanted to buy a flat, so that she will not pay the actual tax. And she have to resign. But in Nigeria, once the person
it's an issue of integrity.
Yeah, now apart from integrity, is because the system is working, that we will handle that. But here, once you take somebody that is from your place, from your own end, you consider that this person is my brother, this person is this person is that. If you look at the pages of newspaper today, you will hear when opposition leaders are saying that they are using EFCC and ICPC to pursue the opponent. We should not be having such a discussion. But Nigeria being the way we are, yes, there is tendency for the president or whoever that is in the government to use that to scare people, oppositions away. You understand? But if we can deal it institutionally, you steal money, the institution deals with you. They give you money to build the refinery, and you couldn't give, and according to the project, it's supposed to cost $20 billion, and they gave you $15 billion. What is on ground is $1 billion. Where is the balance? And by the time they check, they see that you are guilty. They deal with you. If we can solve that problem, Nigeria as a country needs to have their own refinery. I don't believe in that. Government does not have anything to do with business. Even government itself is a business. If you don't run it as a business, you are going to fail. So government needs business to sustain themselves. Government needs to run other things. Even look at our railway. Sorry for digressing to that aspect again. Look at just Itakwe to Warri. Look at what has happened to that rail line now. Deteriorating. It's not even the trains are not looking like something that is up to that is just less than 5 years. Something that it was commissioned. So I don't agree that Nigeria as a government, as a public, that we don't need a refinery. We need to build. What they should do now, Warri refinery, they should just remove all those iron that are there. Remove it. Let them sell it to Babambola as scrap. Then go to China and just bring all the new one. And in 24 months, Niger did it. They built 150 barrel per day. Warri refinery is about 150 barrel per day. I think Port Harcourt one is 150, while Kaduna is 150. I think that is what make it 450 barrel per day. So if Niger could build from scratch 150 barrel per day, then we can also do it. You do it, you build 24 months, you get those things done. in Warri, in Port Harcourt, even in Kaduna, and the Kaduna own, they will now be able to solve the problem of transportation, not using trucks to bring the crude.
So that would have taken care of the northern part.
Yes, northern region largely. You know, and in Kaduna, it will solve some problem in the north central, northwest, and northeast. You know, why? And state. I'm also using this opportunity to call on state governments to also invest in this. You know, to invest in refining. Our Warri has what it takes to do that. That is Delta State have what it takes. River State have what it takes to solve that problem for Nigerians. Akwa Ibom have what it takes to do that. Or these are people at the Atlantic having coastal, you know, boundaries.
Yeah.
And they cannot. If just imagine a refinery in Koko, for example, or somewhere in that, it will expand the port, and state government can also go in there into exploration. That is, you get your license, maybe OMN, you explore, you bring your crude to your refinery. Then just imagine Delta States now having refinery. Do you know that you will solve a lot of problem in Edo State? You will solve a lot of problem in some part of Ondo State. You will solve a lot of problem in Kogi State. You understand? Of getting, you don't need a very large truck to take that. Yeah. If there is from Warri to Kogi is not far, less than 2 hours. There's a way they can link the road. If they are serious about doing this, then you imagine the same thing with Rivers or Akwa Ibom, linking them, or Cross River. Just imagine Cross River having a refinery. Okay. It can also link it to Benue State. You understand? Yeah. Having a pipeline that can, it will solve problem for people in Benue, even have effect in Nasarawa and Abuja. So these are our state government should be able to also think. Look at when Lagos, they saw that Kebbi State have enough land to plant rice, and Lagos State is not. They signed MOU with
when is the partnership with the
Kebbi State,
Lake Rice,
Lake Rice, and okay, produce this rice. Lagos brought the money, Kebbi State brought the land. And they signed MOU. They produced rice in Kebbi State, and they took it to Lagos. Nothing stops Nasarawa State. It's okay, Bayelsa State, come, let us have MOU. Let's contribute money to build refinery. Whatever portion, 20% of the product comes to Nasarawa State. Nothing stops. You know, so they just need to sit down and put on their thinking cap and to solve this
and
problem.
See how to harness the opportunities that appear to be in this sector.
Yes.
Well, it is still the polity, and we are looking at oil discovery and how beneficial it is to the immediate community. In this case, we are looking at Nigeria, which is the immediate community for of the oil discovery, the establishment of the Dangote refinery, and the opportunity that accrue from the goings on in the oil sector. It is indeed a very big news to consumers of fuel when the Dangote refinery announced that it has dropped its ex-depot price for the gantry to 699, and this, of course, is good news to the people. When again there was a report that filling stations are now going to be selling for 789, so about 790. You know, that is a huge plus to the public. So now people know that if they had 8,000, they can be able to buy 10 liters.
Which will only take you to, from, let's say, from where we are now to Gwagwalada.
To Gwagwalada, hey, but again, they know that it is a huge plus compared to when it was 1,000 naira and 900 naira. So the fuel price is gradually coming down, and we hope that this is not a fluke, where after the season is over, then they come. Because one of the explanations Dangote himself gave to the State House correspondent whom he shared that conversation with, he said that they are fighting competition, that there are a lot of imports. There are people who are smuggling fuel in, and then there are imports. So in view of that, they are trying to make sure that they sell at a rate that will make it impossible for this. So does it mean that if these guys were not smuggling in, these prices will not have?
Yes, that is my fear. That's why when sometimes we talk about the strategies of Dangote. Some people might feel that maybe we hate him, or they don't like his. But going by some antecedents of some of these businessmen in the country, you will know that I think there is no competition. This will not happen, because I remember the time of rice too. Something of this nature happened. We hear that somebody is bringing in rice from Thailand. I think it was Vaswani Brother Stallion rice then. Will be coming, and one certain group of people or sellers of rice then we allow the rice to get to the middle of the sea, and they crash their own price. So that before the rice lands to Nigeria, already people are buying their own cheaper, and the person will not be able to now get his own costs, of buying from Thailand before import duties and all that. And from a lot of, you see many rice sellers, crashed out from the system, and you and I know what
it means a lot of damages to businesses.
And so I believe the same thing will still happen if all this, by the time all competitors are out of the way for him to do that. Look at what happened in cement. You know what happened in flour. There have been people selling all this before he came on board. There are people I grew up seeing people selling salt in the what we call Congo, measured system. And when he was coming into the system, he said the NAFDAC, yes, I started saying that you must buy salt that is fortified with vitamin A, that with the logo of I on it, and all those things, that they should not be selling salt in measured in Congo, that they have to be sealed. And we saw what happened. He became major supplier of salt and all this thing, and we know what salt is today. It's not that I'm demarcating anybody. The same thing, you go to cement. As at the time he ventured into cement was 400 naira per bag. We know what the price, apart from inflation and all that has gone. Whereas we're supposed to be buying all these things cheaper, compared to, because we have the resources. When you hear that majority of the resources needed to produce some of these things are here. So why are we buying it higher?
Power. Is power not responsible?
Power. So what?
Power the machines.
Okay, the machines of producing some of these things, but these are part of you're supposed to have your models of how you're going to make profit. But the problem in Nigeria, every businessman in Nigeria wants to come into Nigeria. You start today, you get both.
How to make your return?
You return in 2 years. Whereas in other countries, you hear their plan is to get to recoup in 10 years. But in Nigeria, anybody that comes in, we want to recoup in 2-3 years. Short time investment. And that is why even in our bond, that is why you see you hear investors are coming in. It's because there are short time gains. They just want to get it immediately, and that is why we are having the problem that we are. If not, Nigeria, we should not be thinking of say 750 and we are clapping hands. No, now you are producing the whole thing here. You are doing everything here. So why should we pay per liter 800 naira at the last? Because at the end of the day, it will stay falling on 800 naira per liter. So 800 naira per liter, should it be something that we should be clapping our hands for? No, for me, no. For me, no. 800 naira per liter is on the high side for the citizen, because even at that 800 naira is still high. I just gave you an example. From here to Gwagwalada, 10 liters refinish. It means that you want to go and bring your loads, your goods from Gwagwalada to this place. Already you must have like almost 16,000 naira going and coming. You understand? So for me, it doesn't make sense. Just imagine you selling rice and you want to bring your goods. Because this we have effect. In those days, we have people living in Gwagwalada and they are working in town. Many of them are sleeping in their offices today. Some of them are not using their cars again because of the price of fuel. Before, in those days, with 500 naira, you can conveniently leave the house. Just buy fuel, 10 liters, 500 naira. In those days, you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. You just buy fuel with 500 naira. You buy fuel, that is 10 liters. You go wherever you want to go
and come back.
But now, if you don't have 20,000 naira with your car, you are not sure of your going, maybe, so, so it's, for me, it's not something that we should be clapping because he reduced price to 600 and 800 and at the end of the day, people cannot afford that,
Yeah, for our analysts in-house, it is not yet a huru. The price cut, as it were, especially when you look at the reason given by Dangote himself when he was addressing the press, is not truly geared towards developmental purposes. It was just to secure a space within the market.
His market share.
As far as it's concerned, his market share is more important to him than any other interest. And so we need to begin to ask ourselves, does the Nigerian government need to actually set up fix the refineries for the last time and fix them to become functional? Functional in the sense that everybody will be able to have them to use, because when it's refining and it's supplied to several parts of the market, these will obviously challenge the pricing reality of the Dangote refinery. But again, here's an important question to ask. So much of oil, it has impacted virtually every part of the economy and wounded actually agriculture in the country. Up to date, the agriculture is still struggling to find its space. When budgets are made, they are made dependent on oil revenue. The federal government is relying on oil to be able to get more for the budget. And so with this reality coming in now, do you not see this throwing challenge on government to focus more on manufacturing and agriculture as an other way to boost the economy and make Nigeria more productive in this aspect? But again, in agriculture, we think of security.
Yes, but we should not even go to the security aspect now. There are so many ways Nigerians can actually make money. We have what they call comparative advantage. In Africa, let's go in Africa. African as a continent enjoys Nigerians' entertainment. So why can't Nigeria as a whole look at Nigerians' entertainment and see what revenue we can generate from it? From music to film to our dance to so many things to our art. Africa as a, I'm not even talking of outside Africa. You go to Burkina Faso, you go to Cote d'Ivoire, you go to all these francophone countries. Majority of these people depend on Nigerian content, to be entertained. We can actually earn great revenue from it, even with the couple of YouTube being there and many people uploading. Do you know how YouTube content has removed so many youth out of the street?
Content creators and
content creator, you understand? They're out of job market. They just buy few and they make content and they are earning their few dollars. Some are earning $200, $300. Some are earning as big as $85 monthly. Even in Abuja here, we know of a particular person that earns close to $20,000-$30,000 per month. So you know what it means. So just imagine that if every content creator now pay tax on whatever they earn from that. So Nigerian government can actually earn big money from entertainment. Because when we are talking of acting or film production, you are talking of cameraman, you are talking of a film director, you are talking of producer. You are talking, apart from that, people that we
script writers, costumiers,
drivers,
it's a whole
stylists. Even maybe there is a level of where the
experts in sound, experts in lighting,
even carpenter, tailor. So why can't we, invest in this area? That is one. Two, then you are mentioning of agriculture. Yes, fine, agriculture. Can we also look what we can produce, because most of the things we produce agriculturally, we are not adding value. We are still doing the same, having that same problem of what we are having in petroleum, whereby our cocoa are being taken out to refine or add value in another. Even our cashew. Have you think that why is it that people from Vietnam, people from India will come? What they are just after is our cashew. Do you know that Kogi State is the highest producer of cashew in the country?
And yet
nothing. And if you go to international market, how much they are selling cashew per ton, you'll be surprised. Then what happened to our cocoa? As at last year, if I'm right, last year or thereabout, a ton of cocoa bean was about 10 million naira. A ton. It was about 10 million as at last year when I followed that thing up. So just imagine if Nigerian government can help Nigeria with not, because when we talk of agriculture, we are not just talking about just like gari and yam, and because the last time one minister came, he said they should be exporting yam and
and even in that export, we couldn't make any.
We couldn't make any
because of our bureaucracy way of thinking. Besides bureaucracy, we believe they just carry yam and you load it with sand and you think you are going to sell. People are going to scale the yam, not sand.
Yes, not sand.
When farmers just carry, they were just padding the yams with.
Apart from that, okay, what if that yam? Our cassava? We can add, what stops Nigerian government from saying, okay, cassava, let's use our cassava to do cassava flour? That I think there was a policy that time that 20% or thereabout for bread and all those things. If what stops us from making it 50% content of that to be, you will see what we are going to make from cassava. You know, in my community, I know what people made. You go to Edo, you go to Delta. I know what people made from just last year from cassava, from Gary, when it was like a bag costing like about 30,000-40,000 naira per bag. And I saw people building houses from. So if government can actually give them input, we will actually increase. But we are still having that, what we call that, whether is a cost to have oil. We are still having that same problem. We are not thinking of adding value. Why we are saying oil is a cost is because we are not adding value to the crude. That is the same thing that is happening in agriculture. We are not adding value to our agriculture. We just produce the raw material. Even what stops people now that everybody is going crazy of amala? You know, we have amala with yam, one yam flour, the cassava on. Why can't our food nutritionists in schools and think, okay, how can we blend cassava and this thing together? Maybe cassava will have 10% content, yam will be this, they call it a name. Cassava will be 50% flour here, yam they give it a name. Add some other, fortify it with vitamin A or whatever, and they brand it and do it. Why our government not thinking it in this line? We still believe to be doing it in the local form. Then there is this food from the east, what they call abacha. And you know that thing they put, I think it's cassava something. That white something they called before the leaves and I know it's cassava.
Yeah, it's cassava.
So why can't you make it a national food that everybody, and is going to bring in revenue?
What's it called? Going to be a good money spinner.
Good money.
A great money spinner, because if you have that and then you will have some public functions and you serve them.
You serve them, yes.
Like you are serving your
local food. But when we are eating flours, we eating foreign foods, and we think that we've arrived because
when you go to a function and they want to bring, they give you fried rice.
Fried rice with all kinds of colors.
They put what they call their own the coleslaw, the salad. But again, we have our own African salad.
So, but the issue, what I'm saying is that we should think of how to add values to what we produce from our entertainment.
And this, of course, will go to a large extent to reduce the semi-dependency on fuel, because more revenue will be coming from these other sources.
Exactly.
And it will complement even the revenue. And we have the more revenue we have, the better infrastructure a responsible government will have to deploy to the country.
So it all goes a long way from what we are. It's not we don't have a course. The only course we have is leadership course. Leadership. When I read this book from this guy in United Arab Emirates from Dubai, that is the vice president of United now, but the prince or the king of Dubai, trying to remember Mohammed, something about the vision of his father. He carried on with the vision of his father, how his father imagined to build a country that people come together, and he talked to other kingdom. Let's form a kingdom, and that's what I think about 5 emirates formed the United Arab Emirates and Dubai. He planned how he's going to do a port, artificial man-made port, you know. And today in Dubai, they have that port is the port that generates revenue most in the Middle East. Is the most active.
It's the highest revenue earner for the
earners in the Middle
East.
Yeah, not UAE,
for the Middle East.
Middle East. You know, so, and this is man-made. In Nigeria, you don't need man-made.
You have ports that have been naturally carved out. God
has just made it like that. From Cross River to rivers to Cross River, Akwa Ibom rivers, Bayelsa, Delta, Ondo. God just did it in a wonderful way. You can actually have port that other countries, people in Sao Tome will depend on us, Cameroon will depend on us, even though they are also part of coastal. This thing, there is another town, another country. One is it Guinea something? Equatorial Guinea. Yes, we will. If we make it so effective, these people will benefit, and they also depend on us because of. By virtue of our investment and the facilities, they will know that if it gets to Nigeria, they will get it faster. Instead of us going to Benin Republic to you are importing, you say, if I go to Benin Republic, it's going to be faster there. If not that they close the border, Nigerians still prefer to send their goods to Benin Republic or Togo. Then from there, they get it across through the land border. But it was because of that border closure that made people to certain goods. I think vehicle cannot enter via land now. It must be via sea and all those things. But there are still some other things that enter through the land and all those things. If Nigerian can think, we've not even talked about the mining sector, the kind of revenue
that is the credible from that sector.
From only Kogi State is enough for mining. We are not. Don't even let us mention Zamfara
or even mention Nasarawa State, which is also huge.
Let's just say, okay, let's take it state by state. Say this state for the next 100 years, let's mine what is in your state. When we finish, we go to only Kogi State alone can sustain Nigeria. But nobody is thinking. As our policymakers thought about River Niger and River Benue coming together in Lokoja, how can we spend money from it? You know, cable cars across it, and you want to watch it during dry season and rainy season. You pay money. If people can go to this place in Paris, what's the name? This tower. Eiffel Tower. If the people can go there to spend money, nothing stops people from
coming around to see
the confluence. So that refers me to the tourism aspect.
Hold that thought. We're going to come back to the tourism aspect in opportunity to improve our revenue rather than depending heavily on the oil, which of course has been a huge minus to the budget, to the economy, even to the development of the country. So we shall be looking at taking a break now. When we return, we'll look at the tourism aspect of boosting our revenue. Welcome back to the Polity. I remain Osaitino Sadebame, and of course in-house analyst remains Chukwu Nalu Eke. Our conversation is still on, and this time we are throwing the lines open for you to join us. The oil discovery in the country, how beneficial is it to the immediate communities? That is a challenge we need to really look at and overcome. It is 2025. It is not 1953, 1956, 1958. It is not the 70s or the 80s. over $580 billion have been said to be the revenue derived from crude oil in the country by successive government, military and individuals. A tiny clique of the elite show off with the enormous wealth that is meant for the people, which they have cornered, as it were, by what they call opportunity at the time they're in government. And so in the allocation of some of these licenses to these wells, they got them. Many got so much money that they do not even know what they will do with the money. And they say to them, and so they were busy just living a uselessly luxurious life. Only recently, the Africa Richest Man challenged the rich in the country. Identify a need in your community and see what you can convert that need. Convert it into opportunity and let people in the place have employment. That of course will speak to this issue of diversification that we are calling for in this program today. Oil discovery, blessing or curse. How do the immediate community benefit? The question on the lips of most persons as they drive around from their homes to their destination, and from their destination back home, which is of course now their own destination as they're returning, is we produce this oil. Now we have a refinery in the country, and everybody is talking about Dangote. We have a refinery in the country. Why are we having a challenge of selling at a cheaper rate? Many believe that Dangote is here to fully maximize his 450 capacity refinery, and so the belief is that as he increases the 450 capacity refinery, chances are that prices will come down.
I don't agree to that. Because
the more you produce, I think the cheaper it will have been the cost of production.
No, he's going to sell to other people,
yes,
to other countries.
Yes, what he's going to sell, but then what he's going to sell, one thing remains is that the more once that whole capacity is being used, chances are that the cost of production may increase in terms of volume, but in terms of proportion, it will be less. And that, of course,
I understand.
And that, of course, argument. If that happens, if from the export depot gantry now is 699, it can be what do you call it?
I understand that argument.
430 or 450 right then.
At that stage, he will still argue one thing or the other. That there is something increased in production or that. I think the best for us, so that there will be no excuse from anybody, is give
state-owned refineries.
State-owned. Then also him that is doing that. Okay, since we don't have our own right away, Nigeria needs 450 barrels per day. We'll give you 450 barrels at $30 per barrel, $40 per barrel. And if they should give it, he will not buy at international rate. That is a $65 per barrel. Let's give him at $30 per barrel, and that means that leaves the explorers with maybe $10 as their gain or as their profit or whatever. I think that should be enough. And if they give you, that means they removed about $25 away from that percentage. Also, we reflect at the retail, at the fuel station.
And such reflection will move more vehicles, more machines,
more everything,
and the cheaper cost of production for most persons.
So I think that is for now that should be the best way of handling it. But where we have that problem now is that most exploration companies in this country are owned by foreigners. What you will see is joint ventures with NNPC, and in that joint ventures, NNPC will be the junior partner, so they will not have say. So we don't have a company that actually go to explore to give Dangote. There at a point in time there was this problem of supplying crude to Dangote that he said that he's going out to buy, and we should not be having such conversation if actually the model of the idea of the idea of having that refinery is for Nigerians to
benefit
hugely from it. That should be what we
government should be responsible enough to ensure that, look, this one should be my legacy as an administration, that during my time the refinery was functional, and we made sure that we had the supply to him at this amount.
And between that period, you will see that the price of fuel, price of everything will go down. Mind you, they told us that, you know, whenever they come, or the defenders of the president or the people in government come to the television station or radio or media to talk, why we are having that problem is because of corruption in subsidy. So what you are telling me now, that as the president, those people involved in subsidy scam, they are more powerful than the president. So if you identify that subsidy is our problem, those people involved in the corruption, why can't you deal with the people? Take them away.
Why telling stories that we know them? They are powerful. It's a powerful clique. They are making it impossible for us to run and rest of it.
Even with Dangote talking that this the NMDPR or whatever, want to give him more license. Nobody can. If Dangote should give supply to more than and cheaper, there will be no need. Even if you get your import license, there will be no need for me to go out there to go and buy when I can get it cheaper here. They will be forced to buy it from you. You understand? But once there is scarcity, you can't meet the demand. Definitely they look for somewhere else. For me, I think Dangote should increase his capacity and sell cheaper. The marketers that are going out, they will come to him to buy. They will have no choice because it's easier for them. They have that comparative, they will have that advantage of buying from him. You understand? But it's a situation whereby, and mind you, all of them, they are also fighting for their interest, because Dangote want to refine, distribute, and sell.
That is it. He wants to refine, he wants to distribute, he wants to sell
to the retailer. So he wants to be the refiner,
distributor,
and retailer. And
that is where they are actually having a conflict. They feel you should remain at that point. You should remain the midstream, remain there in the midstream. You allow the downstream operators to operate downstream.
So I think the government should. That is when some of us are talking about monopoly. We have a reason of saying that they will create monopoly. Then if others that cannot meet Dangote's level of 650, maybe 150, 50, 100, 80 barrel per day refineries comes up somewhere else, they will now form association. They will cartel, they form, and here bigger than that, we tell you, say, look, I want us to sell this at this rate. You understand? All of them will agree and
buy into it, so because they know it is more profit for them when they have such kind of agreements. So they know they're going to make more profit when they agree that, okay, they are going to sell the particular monolistic what do you call it, pricing, where the consumers cannot argue with them, because they are the one who sit together and talk.
And they will tell us one story.
They say the reason why, the reason we appear acceptable.
Yes.
Appear acceptable and all that.
We have no choice. So that is the angle that some of us do criticize, the monopolistic approach of sometimes when they cry, locally is like crying like a wolf, but it's actually for his own advantage in the future as time goes on. That's how I see it.
Of course, it is indeed worrying that as far as the Nigerian people are concerned, the level at which petroleum has impacted the economy is not very, very palatable. Even though the people appear not to have control in how things are, the manufacturer will have loved to have more sales when he makes products. The farmer would have loved to make more sales when they make product, when they produce, when they make farm produce. But with this pricing, which is coming from the Dangote refinery, there seems to be hope that for the season it will service the transportation of these goods to the marketplace at a seeming lesser rate than what it was. But so far, we are yet to see changes in prices of transportation. Transport have remained where they are.
Yes, because other things have also remained in cost of maintaining the vehicle. The brake pad has not changed. The alternator rate has not changed. The only thing that changed is the probably oil.
And so oil is not just the fuel. It's not the only thing that powers the vehicle.
Yes,
it only takes it to move. But to make it ready to move,
you have to go to the mechanic. There is wear and tear in the vehicle. When you go to the mechanic now and say, which other day I was talking about something there, engine oil to service, this maybe 20,000 naira. You get a filter, another that has not changed. And it's gonna. How many people are producing lubricants here? Maybe few companies, or maybe oil major. We are also importing there. You want to get your grease. Look at grease. Ordinary grease that we used to get 50 naira. How much is grease? Then 600 naira. Look at the gap. 50 naira, 600 naira grease.
That is about 500%
more than 500% increase. You know. So you can imagine. So you are not going to expect somebody that is running a commercial vehicle then to just reduce this, because when he reduces that, when the vehicle breaks down, he will go to mechanic. Where will he get money to repair the vehicle so that he can be on the road the next day?
It is just strange that when price increases, the impact is felt automatically in every part of the vehicle.
Because
but when it drops, it will not take time before it begins to reflect.
Yes, it happened. Well, I'm not an economist to be able to do justice to this, but it's just a simple way of the before the increment. I've had some the reduction. I have some goods in the. So let me sell down.
Before
I come back to the now the reduced.
I still have my money back.
I still have my money to remain.
Well, let's look at our time is up. Let's look at this last question. I need you to talk about it again, because earlier you said it is not that the oil is a curse. It is our style of leadership, or the people that are cursed. 19 billion wasted in repairing refineries. Just 1 billion difference.
Built
a refinery that is meeting our local consumption need. You get it? Will you encourage that government should still remain? Because that was, looking at it, that was the idea that made former president, late President Yar'Adua to withdraw, to refund $750 million to the Blue Star
Sun Energy
company that bought it up, which Dangote had interest in to take it. That was what informed the decision to return it, to return the money and get it back. But even after that, till date, that is about 20 years that decision was taken.
About 2007,
2008,
that's
about 20 years. And now the refinery are still comatose.
Now let us look at this scenario. You have a car, you have a mechanic. Every time you take your car to your mechanic working on your brake, your car is having problem, it's brake, or let's say the top engine or whatever, giving you one particular one, that is the problem, and you kept coming there. So your mechanic has not turned you like your ATM. What will you do? Won't you try another mechanic?
Yeah, you should.
Or won't you? Okay, if you try another mechanic and he's still giving you the problem, you try another one, he's still giving. What will you do? You change the car, right? So that does not mean that if you try, if you see that the problem is mechanic, you deal with the mechanic, right? If you see that the problem is the car itself, you deal with the car. Either you change it or you just come and go without it. As Nigeria, as a whole, as our leader, identify the problem in that aspect. Now, I want to put as a challenge. Have you seen a former minister of petroleum poor in this nation?
I've not met them, I'm not their friends. I wouldn't be able to tell. But from what we know is that once they are there.
From what we see on pages of newspapers or from the media, I don't think we've seen any poor Nigerian minister of petroleum. Have you seen a top executive from NNPC poor?
No, we hear that dollars are found in their
We heard that there was one they found, not me now.
The EFCC said they found
$10 million in. You can imagine $10 million, as in raw cash, $10 million in a safe in one former MD of NNPC. That is how corruption has really dead in the oil sector. So number one thing that the government needs to do is to actually fight corruption in the system. We've read where bribes are given in dollars in this same sector. You know, when you look at this scandal, LNG scandal, is same oil sector. You look at this scandal, this sector. You look at this sector, is the same oil sector. So let government first of all fight that corruption in that sector.
Let government fight the corruption in this sector. Make it cleaner. Take off all the opaqueness and make it more transparent so that people can have confidence in all that is going on within the sector, and by extension the goodwill will filter around the entirety of the economy, and then the ordinary woman, the ordinary man on the street, in the marketplace, who is doing one small business or the other, would have felt the impact. Well, this is how we come to the end of today's conversation on the polity, looking at the oil discovery, whether it is a boom, whether it is a blessing or cost. What benefit has it over to the community? In our case here, Nigeria, with the recent price shift. Downward price shift, we may say it is appearing to be a blessing, but we wish to see more of this blessing in the expectation of Nigerians, where they begin to have ease of life by virtue of the impact of oil in every aspect of the economy. Let production boost, let agriculture boost. That is what we're looking for. So my name is Society Sadibame. I'll be saying goodbye. But before then,
and I'm Chukwunalu AK. Thanks.
I will say goodbye from here.